Some places are bad. Not because something terrible happened there, but because that's what they became. And the people who came left changed, or did not leave at all. Tonight, 11 places. Some you know, some you don't, and the stories of people who went there. What happened to them after is harder to explain than the place itself. My name is Mariella. Welcome. Chernobyl, 1986, the largest nuclear disaster in history. Today, a tourist destination. Thousands of people come every year. They look, they photograph, and sometimes they take something as a souvenir.
I was there on a tourist group. I knew you weren't supposed to take anything, but I found a beautiful piece of concrete by the wall of the fourth reactor, small. I put it in my pocket. 1 week after coming home, my dog died. She was healthy. The vet had no explanation. 1 month later, my marriage ended after 8 years, suddenly. Without a reason, I understand. 3 months later, fired from a job I'd held for 12 years.
They call it the Chernobyl curse. Hundreds of tourists report similar stories. Took something from there. Bad things began here. Radiation? Coincidence? Or a place that will not release what belongs to it? Easter Island, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, 887 stone statues, the Moai. Nobody knows exactly why they were built.
I arrived as an ordinary tourist. The first 2 days were fine. On the third day, something changed. I was walking along a row of statues at sunset, and suddenly I felt they were watching. Not a metaphor, a physical sensation of being watched from everyone simultaneously. I photographed several. At home, I looked at the photos. In 2 of them, blurred figures beside the statues that were not there when I took them. It's not the main thing. The main thing is that I still, 3 years later, sometimes wake up feeling watched. And I go to check there's no one in the room.
The locals say the Moai are aku, ancestral spirits. They protect the island, and they do not release those who came without respect. Aokigahara, Japan, at the foot of Fuji. They call it the suicide forest. Every year, bodies are found there, dozens. Local authorities stopped publishing statistics to avoid attracting people.
I went out of curiosity. During the day with a friend, we weren't planning to go deep. About 30 minutes in, my friend said he wanted to go back, that he felt bad. Not physically, just bad. We went back. At the edge of the forest, I found a note, folded, lying on the path. I didn't know Japanese. I photographed it. At home, I translated it. It said, "Do not follow me. There is nothing here for the living." The note was fresh, not yellowed, not wet. Someone had left it recently. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who it was for. But sometimes I think maybe it was for me.
Yungas Road, Bolivia, called the Death Road, 3 meters wide, drop of up to 1 kilometer, no barriers. Officially the most dangerous road in the world. Hundreds die there every year.
I was riding a bicycle. It's considered extreme tourism. Many people do it. About halfway, fog. I stopped, and in the fog I saw a figure, a person, walking along the very edge of the road, the very edge. I called out, the figure didn't react. I rode closer. There was no figure, just fog and the drop. Further along the road, small crosses, hundreds of them along the whole road, each one a person who didn't make it. The local guide told me afterward, you saw an alma, a soul. They sometimes walk the road where they died. Some tourists see them. It's usually a warning. Be careful. I made it. Not everyone does. I don't know if what I saw is connected to the fact that I did.
I do urban exploration photography. I go alone. I'm used to it. That hospital felt different from the start. Not fear, pressure, like the air was heavier. I was photographing the corridors, old wards, nothing unusual to the eye. At home, I loaded the photos. In one of them, in a doorway, a silhouette, clear, human, standing and facing the lens. I was alone in the building, certain. I checked every room. No one was there. I took the memory card to a specialist. He looked at the file metadata, said, the photograph was not edited. Not a single pixel had been changed. I still don't know who was standing in that doorway, but someone was.
Stop. Because before we go further, there are several things science says about cursed places. First, infrasound. Some buildings and locations generate low-frequency sounds that humans cannot hear, but can feel. Research has shown that infrasound at 18 to 19 hertz causes anxiety, the sense of a presence, and peripheral hallucinations. Many cursed buildings have infrasound sources: pipes, ventilation, wind through specific structures. Second, electromagnetic fields. Some researchers have found a connection between anomalous EMF readings and the sensation of a presence or being watched. Abandoned buildings with unstable electrics often create such fields. Third, place psychology. Knowing what happened in a place affects perception. Aokigahara is frightening not only because people died there, but because you know they died there. The brain looks for confirmation and finds it. But here is what science struggles to explain. Verifiable details, unedited photographs, people who did not know the history of a place and still felt the same things as those who did, objects taken from places, and things that happened afterward, patterns repeating across too many people to be coincidence. One theory some researchers take seriously: places may accumulate the energy of events that occurred in them, like a magnetic recording. A sufficiently intense event, death, suffering, trauma, leaves a trace, and sensitive people pick up that trace. Death Valley, California, the hottest and driest place in North America. There is a dried lake, racetrack playa, and on it, stones that move, on their own, leaving trails on the dried clay. No one has ever seen them move, but the trails, dozens of meters, are there.
We came specifically to see the moving stones. We camped near the playa. In the night, we both woke up simultaneously, for no reason, around 3 in the morning, and we both heard movement, slow, the scraping of clay. We came out of the tent. The stones were where they were, but one of them, the furthest one, was not where we had seen it in the evening, about 3 meters closer. Science explained the movement of the stones in 2014, thin ice and wind. But the explanation came in 2014. The stones had been moving for thousands of years. And what we heard that night did not match the explanation. There was no ice, no wind.
Skeleton Coast, Namibia, 500 kilometers of desert between the Atlantic and the Namib Desert. The Bushmen called it the land god made in anger. Portuguese sailors called it the gates of hell. Tourist brochures call it the Skeleton Coast. On the shore, thousands of whale skeletons, seal bones, and human remains. Ships that ran aground stayed there forever. Crews who survived the wreck died of thirst 50 meters from the ocean.
I was the only tourist on that stretch of coast. The guide drove me there and left for an hour. First few minutes, beautiful, wild beauty. Then, unease. Then, panic. Groundless, complete panic. I walked toward the water, as if trying to escape from the land. Stopped at the very edge. The water was cold, clear, beautiful. And then I understood why people died here. Not because they couldn't find water, because the place did something to them that made them walk toward the water. The salt water, the undrinkable kind. When the guide came back, I couldn't explain what had happened. Just asked to leave immediately.
The house was almost half the market price. Good area, good condition. We didn't ask why it was so cheap. First 2 weeks, normal. Then, our 8-year-old daughter started talking about the people in the house. We thought, imagination. Then things started breaking one after another, without reason. Then smells, specific. Tobacco smoke. No one in the family smokes. Perfume, no source. We started researching the house history. Neighbors told us, in 6 years, 4 families had lived there. None stayed longer than a year. One family, the couple divorced after 4 months. Another, their son fell ill, no cause found. A third left without explaining why. We left after 7 months. The house is still listed for sale, for the 4th year in a row.
Point Reyes Lighthouse, California, built in 1870, one of the windiest places on the U.S. West Coast. Dozens of deaths are associated with the lighthouse, not accidents. People who came and jumped without explanation.
I came as a tourist. The lighthouse is beautiful. I was walking the path and suddenly felt a pull. Not a metaphor, physical, as if something was drawing me toward the edge. I stopped, stood there. The pull was very specific, directed. I am not suicidal, I don't have those thoughts. But in that moment, I understood why people jumped, not because they wanted to die, but because the pull was stronger than them. I turned and walked away quickly, without looking back. Then I learned that several people had described the same things and walked away, and some had not.
I've been hiking for 20 years. I'm experienced. I don't get lost. On this trail, I got lost on a familiar route that I had walked many times. The trail led the wrong way. I knew it, but kept walking, as if there was no choice. I walked for several hours. It started getting dark. I stopped, turned around, and the trail was suddenly right again. Ordinary. Familiar. I was out in 20 minutes, but I should have been there 3 hours earlier. Later I found out. Several experienced hikers have disappeared in that area of the Appalachians in recent years, without a trace. I don't know what brought me back, but I know something was leading me. And something let me go.
Chersonesus, Crimea, an ancient Greek city founded in the 5th century BC. Everything built on its territory deteriorates. Soviet-era structures raised there crumbled in decades without visible cause. Modern constructions nearby stand normally.
I worked on a restoration project in the 90s. We were reinforcing excavation walls. Good work, good materials. 2 years later, the walls started cracking. Our foreman said the place doesn't accept new things. Everything we built, it rejects. Locals say that one night voices were heard from the excavation, Greek voices, as if someone were having a conversation from 2000 years ago. Personally, I heard nothing, but I saw a wall we had just reinforced crack, a fresh crack, right after we finished. The place doesn't want our time, it only wants its own.
11 places. Chernobyl, Easter Island, Aokigahara, the Death Road, an abandoned asylum, Death Valley, the Skeleton Coast, a house that keeps selling, a lighthouse, an Appalachian trail, Greek ruins. Different places, different stories. One thing in common, the people who came left changed. Some did not leave at all. Maybe it's infrasound and electromagnetic fields. Maybe it's psychology. Maybe places really do remember. I don't know, but I know I would not take a stone from Chernobyl. Have you been to a place that felt wrong? Not frightening, just wrong? Leave a comment. Subscribe next time, people who heard voices and what those voices told them. Good night. And watch where you walk.